at the end.
Sure. You're just a prep stealer, Parker.
Yes, done prep before the one you see, you know, all this prep I'm doing.
Oh, already into that. I need more.
Oops.
Oh, wait. Oh no, you can't play that. That would be a bad idea.
Alright, set the app again. That one should work.
Oh, yes. You are correct.
Slide. Let's see if we can resonate with the frequency.
I'll try. Alright, everyone ready? Cool. I affirm Part 1 is the advocacy, public college, and universities are the hallmark for society's commitment to critical education of students who become leaders of tomorrow. The institutions are renowned for their commitment to academic freedom that are glossed over in the day-to-day life. That changes the post-9/11. Now, patriotic correctness runs rampant. Wilson 15 writes the wake of 9/11 act freedom suffered underway for patriotic correctness. Free speech was silenced. Politicians banned flag waving, set political debate. College institute policy that prohibited bans after the 9/11 was a moment that the window into scrutiny of American policies with academic freedom required to utilize it was more important than ever. Thus, the plan text resolved public colleges and universities in the United States ought not restrict constitutionally protected speech that criticizes the military's policies. Part 2 is framing higher education is regard to the military-industrial complex, reducing the role of teachers, merit technicians, the role of the balance for the average civic state, the university or military, educators should reject the call for abstraction and open up everything for contestation. Show 13 rates called rejected, less political focus, teachers urges to technician, merit technician, informal students, long concerned with the consequences of pedagogy, everyone should find the rules of critical education and active higher education cannot be decoupled with Darren calls it democracy to come. Democracy must always be open to the possibility of contesting self and criticizing and improving, and pedagogy must be understood still be reformed, the vision to be knowledge power can be emancipated. Part 3 is offense, and the status quo members of college campus are routinely fired if they criticize the military, causing a chilling effect of such discussion. Multiple peer examples confirm. Wilson 2 writes, efforts to silence faculty and students can make others more elections to speak openly. 9/11 chained academic freedom. Library system Haggis was centered on email criticizing the military as well. American policy in Iraq. Into reviews Professor John Risk, Kirsten, Senate Air Force, and I would be furious that you would support you and your killing tactics for after damage. Killing was suspended and undergo a post-Henry review. Another chain of was suspended for saying that killing is wrong. While conservatives contend that a few hates the censure prove that left-wing thought police over college campus vice and survey of academic freedom shall found the opposite. Left-wing criticized Bush administration survived for the most numerous and serious violations of the liberties. Patriotic correctness reigns supreme after 9/11, and this is devastating because higher education is uniquely key institution that created a space for a conversation that shows an action that snowballs and culture shift away from militarism. History proves anti-militarism has started silence when the state is held by opposing its agenda and quieting opposition. Voting Act helps teach students who refuse to complicit with military views and draw 07 risk. Kristen University stronghold to send up a long history back to McCarthy era, renewed a war-based revenue, neoconstitutional autonomy of institutions foster critical thought. This attack on active freedom, our range of scope of forces. It is a much worse today because of the security state, Pentagon, and wealthy right-wing individuals have created powerful and right-wing forces that are waging India, focus campaign against academic freedom, sacrificing critical pedagogy and patriotic correctness to place control over thought inside the classroom. Dissent is equated with treason. As another dissent is equated with treason. The university is the weak link in the war on terror. Professor advocated culture of critical engagement versus being labeled un-American. Higher education is one of the most crucial institutions where democratic forms of can be critically identified and critically engaged. This is one of the few spaces where young people can think critically and learn the values or refuse obligations. The security state will develop the skills necessary to defend democracy, shoot and tax. Equal cultural shift. You have to teach students to refuse to admit the militarism. This creates a cultural shift away from the glorification of violence, strategy, and Emory 14. Militarism is short of the notion of patrons of the world of the academy, wrestling on knowledge, notion of the enemy. The police of knowledge reveals a battle cry defending the integrity of the nation requires a purchasing a citizen by recognizing the state veterans were permissible to express the university. Culture wars about work to uphold the mythology of democracy, about freedom of expression that contains active dissent, and militarism is part of the culture, making people souls justifying creating everyday violence against mutilation and other. The Apple students and professors refuse this culture, shattered me and Marie too. The co-option of academic containment evident the assault of comparison scholarship, Middle East studies, and the culture wars over the war on terror, the culture contract, the racial aspect of the terrorists, the synonymous of the Muslim, the Arab culture, imagery, legitimized violence against Western capable of democratic self-governmency, criminalization of those considered threats to national security. Muslim, Arab, American students are subject to multiple levels of containment and scrutiny. This outweighs 8 points of root cause, one silence with no one's end, and including negative acts that occur, and no one cares about them, making it impossible to stop. People's abrogation motion occurs, impacts occur constantly, which means they aggregate every day. By the time negative impacts occur, they have a massive way and scope and magnitude, and the points political scope spill over. Academics have used state liberal sources in their own academic freedom to create positive policy change, proving that liberalism in the university creates concrete material impacts. Slaughter 88 writes the university curriculum has created subject of previously treat only in accepted ways. Safe under the university provides resource based growth of diverse forms of knowledge. Professors be engaged generally also comes to knowledge. Foreign policy professors have worked with a variety of external groups to curb the United States intervention policy in Central America, particularly in Nicaragua. They present thought out policy in Central America as one of the only single instance state sponsored professor exchange expertise with the wide variety of external groups trying to change prevailing policy. For part 4 is theory. First, that all theoreticals have an implicit affect center. The most recent empirical study late Europe's around show huge negative side by side 15 myself and they lately them rest negative 61%. Second, go after when office with counterfeitation even when flexibility negative has when I has ability when an idle layers Japanese has the same ability. The two are true short when new shell and play defense on 200 theoreticals. So Japanese are simple layers rather than adding more obstacle averages. That's not a problem long term. Our viewpoints rest policy only the next we talk about because only FS ready to talk. Well, thus the athletes and RBI to compensate for the next unique access to the ballot. Part 5 is the method. First, the African state is a heuristic to learn New York planning. Even politics and colleges are generally bad. And also, politics is pedagogic variable. It takes creativity, church practice, and teaches Abby Stills Barman all 16 wrestling around typically seen as a survey policy is not limited to this juxtaposed current transition surprisingly are plausible alternative worlds to self-reaching missing analysis useful the ability to make sure imagine is like trade mid existing mental and cognitive biases scenarios helping individuals break down conventional thinking invention thereby adapt something different than the present criticism like tries that for avoiding creativity and overreaching the assumptions that prevents culture which takes me understanding teaching knowledge various seconds use episodic modesty about the method to make key decision making all the circumstances use probably chance match very risk be its definition gameplay it would be inconsistent here to do that here as well. 3 contesting the policy we're going to see is bad for the AC framework as long as it's legitimate equals that it moves 6 to AC officers to upload my officer shores after I'm people it means negative as a class engaged with the they get superficial education sequence pops all their offense to be the role valve with their affirmative. 4 is the actors not role playing not pretending on the scene. I mean forming opinion about the state should do for example I say when I say that a criminal on I murder people without I can think to say that without thinking I'm a criminal also link turns and non-use all your offense everyone forms opinions about the government's fire so we should focus on particular strict and such best tactical material balance pass 16 right it just stuff where I comfort people start by pointing out if public experiences starting to set the feedback around myself theoretically designating the subject in a way that's not in favor of one theory copy social problems independent and neutral with the respect to completely certified, we must return to concrete problems, make problematic situations at a certain point. Crucial should address unique circumstances. 6 root cause of explanation of politics do not exist. Methodological pluralism is key to open up new ideas and avoid violence. Blacker 14 because idea was a difficult issue from genocide to war. Holding one position with critical student can have far-reaching consequences. Methodological pluralism lies at the heart of critique. Also back and forth between different methods, trying to understand multiple texts. No single method can adequately represent the event, but you should capture each of the canonical combining methods when they are deemed to pedals uniquely key. 7 is that there's no unique reason on top category you care about semantics other than pragmatics. You can say any reason why semantics is important defaults back to pragmatics. The 7th argument was accept.
That's fine. Alright, is everyone ready?
Yep.
What is the culture of militarism?
So it's the belief that like the military and violence is a good thing and is uncontested.
So it's the belief that so the culture of militarism that the AF solves is the belief that the military is a good thing.
No, it's the belief that violence is always the answer, right? The AF can still say that like the military exists in our world, right? We don't say like we should get rid of the military. The AF says we should not view the military as unquestionably good. You can never make a mistake, and that it's violence solutions.
Okay, sure. So which species? Okay, sure. So this seems to be talking about in the context of public views of the military. Why do the views of college students at like Texas A&M or Houston Community College, like why is that?
Okay, so the Giroux evidence indicates that we need to start at
which Giroux evidence is this? Your framework card?
Giroux's and Giroux 07. The framework card also warrants this is why the university is the uniquely key point where we can.
Okay, sure. So which part of the evidence indicates that the university spills over and causes people to critique the military system? Because this evidence just references like history.
It's not the most crucial institution where
it says it's crucial, but my question is spillover. Where does it indicate that it spills over?
That the young people think critically. They learn the values that you gave, and then obviously once they have those values, they use them in other places.
And then they use them. Okay, so the argument. Okay, so where in the evidence does it actually say this? You're making great analytics. Where is it in the card?
It's right here. I'll read it for you. Democratic forms of can be critically identified and critically engaged in. It's one of the few spaces where young people can think critically, learn values that refuse the obligation of the security state, and develop skills necessary to democracy. That seems pretty clear to me.
Okay, so young people like take it away from the university and start critiquing it like in public spaces, like in the United States.
Is that how you solve? It's not just that, right? The political spillover is our viewpoint, and that's about academics specifically. But students is our cultural shift. They no longer believe that violence is always the answer to every solution.
Okay, sure. Let's go to the Chatterjee evidence. The Chatterjee evidence. What's the warrant in this evidence? This evidence just talks about like patriotism.
It says like the policing of knowledge reveals a battle cry, i.e. they're trying to defend their culture. They rely on a citizen regulating the borders of boundaries. What is permissible to express in the university?
Wait,
that seems pretty
so
clear
like,
to me.
Wait, hold on. So why does it? So again, this is just a description of like the status quo. Why does it mean you access your tag, which is talking about it teaches students to refuse it?
It
right?
literally
like
says that they police knowledge in order to make sure that people where they regulate what culture, what thoughts people have. The app obviously does not do that. We do say different thing. We allow people to have
it's
different
only
thoughts,
but it's only in the context.
relies
It's
on.
only in the context of the military. This evidence seems to be talking about the culture of censorship writ large.
No,
Your
it's
plain
not.
text-
It's not. The
wait,
article
so where
is
does it-
specifically about military. It's literally about the dissent in the military. Exactly. Like if you want to call for the evidence after the round, it definitely is, right? It literally, the next part from the same article talks about progressive scholarship in Middle East studies, the culture wars over the war on terror. Like that is like definitely militarism. I know your own cards, Jason.
Okay, sure. All right, I'm gonna start pro.
Those typing skills, though.
Thank you. Alright, stop prep 230, one off the case. Okay, sent.
You want to just move a little bit this way, do you mind? So you get into the video?
Yes.
Isn't it?
Cool.
Alright, great. Is everyone ready?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Alright, I'm good.
Alright, great. Critiquing the American Empire's dangerous whining, embracing the criticism, devastation to the United States hegemony, that's Kagan in 98. Those contributing critical to course advantage hegemony, playing dangerous game, let's the entire international system come crashing out permanently, but American hegemony will be using that for the purpose of possibly too many Americans think how just important, how American dominance key to security, and they allow unpatriotic sedition to speak their speech undermines military confidence, which is a deciding factor in the war against terrorism, that's Iago, and 5. Every single should be injury and death to sort of encourage them and which are our efforts to prolong the war. Once you consider the impacts of tension before embarking, Hitler would not invade his second Slovakia and Slovakia again, always discussing reaction, convinced him, seeing good for terrorists without resolve, enemies will be willing to act, does not get any simpler to winners often, the one with the great role when the Revolutionary War was won by will, not by their still place to consider. Now we have one second to believe that we will succeed. It's almost possible to be pro-American while also dissenting on conflict and uniqueness on our side. Is any substantial reduction in military support of the results in athlete presence which collapses hegemony. That's no love and will often 16. China tries to serve Russia fast raising power. U.S. will also have economic decline, much more deeper economic decline. U.S. allies have placed new pressure on the United States and to be engaged global policies. Positions attract significant shifts among American politics, increasing decline towards global leadership. Worried about the cost of American foreign policy commitments. U.S. will less military power engaged key region become destabilized, conflict prone in world economic order. U.S. has been a primary beneficiary and leading for economic opportunities and secure rule. We'll pull specific lines from the one you see. First is the line for your strategy evidence. Militarism has shored the notions of patriotism and the economy, resulting in ideological as define the enemy, which means the one you see. What you see rejection of particular type of enemies is just a euphemism for rejecting patriotism. Patriotism is the key. That's the one you see. Iago Evans. Second is that CX who spill over. The critique of military bad is sufficient to trigger the one you see impact. It means that people would spill over into critiquing with the American Empire. Uniquely true in the context of our uniqueness. After our uniqueness evidence indicates that indicates that no criticism on the home front is uniquely in order to have American conflict in order to solve things like extinction too. Impacts versus that threats are inevitable hegemonies and sustainable and great power war retreat from privacy means a litany of hotspots go nuclear. That's Kagan and 16. Great power competition to return Russia's last first border invasion, trying to expand military power, expanding influence, jihad gain control. But the opponents of post-American war presidency B has been prematurely. Americans recover from recession. The rest has stalled. D among the public sign of greater responsibility to an active global war. Americans are striking strengthening free trade. There can be no world power without power to preserve to keep the peace. Military power is essential. The U.S. looks like the lesser level standard. The order began to unravel. Not only U.S. has capacity to geographical advantage to provide global stability with our U.S. willingness to balance citizen will welcome under military competition. Regional powers. The U.S. military must be able to serve and stop aggression, fight rights to deter Iran, to Russia, North NK, and remain stability in face of rising China's strategic aim and reducing the Iranian domination. Also requires preventing around the battlefield. U.S. power to destroy the Islamic State. Also want to see cultural violence evidence. Fundamentally, and just a question of who intervenes. Our argument is that the U.S. is a much better intervener than an individual like China, Iran, and Assad, or Iran, than China or dictators like Assad. And another impact: U.S. hegemony key to stability in the Balkans. Power now checks extremists as Bardos. In 06, the study explains how the absent U.S. leadership after events spent under control erased 10 years of effort to stabilize the region. Ignorantly, who troops out of Balkans only embolden extremist countries need U.S. support. Now Europe needs U.S. support. Administration to send stability rest of the United States to lead the effort to integrate all countries of Southern Europe and Balkan conflict escalates goes nuclear. That's base 713. Balkans have been for Europe's power just 20th of the year. Just one quarter of all states. Balkans a high geopolitical sitting crossing from Europe to Asia after the country were part of remedy to be spread. Internal conflict potential is amplified by internal stability. Balkan stability has been external dimension where highly tense situation in the region. Many workplaces see this opportunity to exploit Europe's tops out the alternatives to endorse and align yourself with American agenda. The only tangible threat to U.S. primacy is isolation. Rhetoric is critical to preserving international stability. That's Crystal and Kagan 96. The preserving U.S. policy should be preserved for you. Dominant the principal concern of America is they somehow withdraw some of most Americans fail to notice that they have never let us get Americans have achieved these benefits great. The United States so far exercised have without any noticeable change. But difficulty would be to preserve need not to be preserving the main threat to the United States now done with the Americans have any liable defense against breakdown of peace. No sketchy permutation. The one you see took the stance that the military should be able to critique our arguments that the military that the status quo conception of the military is good because they intervene in other foreign conflicts. Obviously means a viewpoint is that the only way they are able to access impact is if they link to the criticism, which means that they do not get sketchy no link arguments. C point is that if there's a link reduction to the critique, that's also a link reduction to when you solvency, which means that link reduction on the critique would equally reduce the solvency, which means that just an impact comparison. Now it's impact framing. First we'll consider ethical policy making argument. Policy making implies util. That is it's like very strong evidence outcome to be after you just kind of behavior. It comes to people to different like people see entirely less outcome determined decision quality proves util isn't hard to use. Since you already use it, viewpoint is that public universe and never to share up with citizens benefits of some hard the only justified raise all conflict benefiting maximum number of people and equal to unequally prioritize one group over another and impact framing extinction comes to our search that ethical uncertainty is which we absolute to ensure the future value regardless of true moral theory. That's Bosch from 11 moral uncertainty better understanding ourselves my confusion not only what outcomes comes big we should recognize the great value preserving people to recognize value ensuring the future of humanity is best way to recognize the future is the water second magnitude even risk is sufficient because seeking death and definite future generation virus and else the impact still infinite viewpoint is reversibility extinction irreversible comfort so other impacts can still be corrected for if we're alive now go to impact framing sure just isolate specific parts of teaching that are bad presumed use. For example, it's bad because it's harmful for education. Viewpoints that no uniqueness debating about economic system extinction impacts and the military education. We learn about the military, U.S. engagement abroad, etc. Also comes to often because we talk about the militarism in the context of one of the other things. The one is so focused on educational space and combating military and just resulting because the echo chambers means that they would a priori reject things like hedge good and the judge is not an educator. At best they give critique to the only phrase in the context of winning the round debate is game, which means that fundamentally the piece of the refrain is wrong. Instead we should debate what ethics demands us to do, which is your government framing argument, political action, which is better for actor specificity in the context of the government. Now let's go to the military evidence. The one you see is fundamentally liberal media bias. They have a misperception of the military from the left. That answers your strategy evidence. This Miller from the Truman Project in 10 military is more progressive like climate change, healthcare, society, and one of the uniform opposite opinions actually the military are developed by news media, TV shows, and movies. This does not keep them from claiming he's speaking of the military professionals, exhibited with military secretaries despite opposition still, 6 related groups of all colors general data surface like one of the military healthcare system shows that government can do healthcare well and efficiency. Our evidence is better. First, that the troop has suffered and lived with the ground force and mutual like their conception is correct as opposed to liberal education. Your strategy evidence are literally just PhDs from random from university. They have never suffered on the ground. Sequence that your evidence suffered from confirmation by people expect the military to be perfect, so they expect their democratic liberties are a given since they have not. It makes sense there haven't been relevant challenges on American soil. So every time it happens, it literally makes national news.
students, and military is not racist about. It's about whether it be, and it gives tons of benefits that's kick in, and no handling is them. The military offers opportunity for people who needed them. The military is among the best recognized institution in America, providing the best opportunities for minorities and economic disadvantage. Also constantly better with pay, healthcare, educational benefits, retirement pay, and the chance to learn skills that are often highly marketable. The market, the military personnel are constituted considerably more than individuals of similar age, and military decreases structural violence. Since Barnett in 11, a lot of fires in developing regions be left to burn. The numerous wars would serve as hegemonies got their work expired during the Pentagon War. The Americans shut off World War II, engineered international liberation war. One that was the first to limit to the West for 4 decades, violently killed 1.5 plants population. The condition of most modest amounting abundance, spreading abundance of return according to society that later in fact state wars so infrequent that it's not lethal will guard the reins of global leadership. Will answer your winning arguments here. You say it cause no uniqueness. Things like charisma and is not talked about in the military. People want evidence much comes from speech that study international relations, which is more accurate on the question of militarism than your evidence. C point is that no, absolutely no spill, or even if it does obviously outweighs America. You say aggregation again, no uniqueness. Terrorism does this too. B point is that the government takes far too long to solve, whereas the immediate impact is that hegemony, which is hegemony collapse, which means that we have time for it.
Can you delete what you didn't read?
I read everything as well.
So that happened.
Cool. Was this? I got a little lost when you read the Miller evidence. Was like the liberal media stuff?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Sorry, you did not read a McClintock card. That was like in Harper's after something.
Cool.
Alright, I'm ready when you are.
Alright, yeah. 1 second. Let's start on the alternative. What does the judge do? Like, what is the distinction between this, like, as a hedge good, like, K versus a hedge good DA?
Yeah, sure. So the alternative effectively also like gives us uniqueness arguments. So for example, it means the link evidence is talking about, well, okay, I'll just talk about the all. Basically, this means that we would affirm things like the military. We would continue
Who,
like
the judge would, or like?
No, this is like something that like governments do.
Okay, how would governments affirm America?
Yeah, sure. So that would mean like increasing funding for the military, continuing to like shut off dissent to the military because that kills like their ability to have like resolve in other areas.
Okay, so they make that a law, like not just in college campus, but in general, that you're not allowed to creep the military.
That would be an example of
all right. How would that seems like a pretty terrible idea if you want people to support the military. Why would that resolve like this? It seems like people.
Well, if your evidence is, well, obviously, first of all, status quo like military is still able to like resolve things, right? Obviously, there are limitations on free speech. Otherwise, your app probably doesn't solve anything, right? The second argument is that this alt is obviously not intended to like solve the app or anything, right? This just gives us uniqueness in that it would answer.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's like a pretty terrible idea externally. Like it probably is bad for hegemony.
If we win that hegemony is good, right? Then that means affirming hegemony is probably good. I don't understand your question. We're good.
No.
Okay.
So the practical form of the alternative is.
Sure. So it would mean first, obviously, do not implement the app, right? We would continue the status quo.
Can you just like tell me what this is, right? You said like it's kind of policy implications. Like, can you like tell me what those are? So like the tuner is like, oh, we do this, that solves the app, or like it has. Impacts, right?
No, it does not solve the app. This is a uniqueness argument.
Okay.
This gives us uniqueness.
Okay.
You say like it's not sustainable.
What I'm questioning, I'm questioning what specific policies does this enact? You said it creates censorship worldwide, or
no, not worldwide, right? It still continues. It still continues like the status quo things of like censorship, right? It means that we would still like do things like fund the military, which answers like military unsustainable because of like lack of funding, things like that.
What else do you do?
Is that what you were saying? That's fine. It does a few other things. Third is that it continues public faith within the military, things like that. So that way we get uniqueness for our resolve arguments coming out of the Iago evidence and the Crystal and Kagan evidence. Let's see. Yeah, that would be.
Sorry, can you say the third one again? Sorry. What you just said. What
do you do? Sure. So it would feed off that we would have like resolve within the military by like the governments. Yeah, sure. Currently, right, politicians and like people that in policymaking, right, are highly critical of like the military, right? So you would say that they would have like faith within the military and things like that.
But how do you just make people do that? Like, it seems to be like a mind shift. We just change people's mind. Like, oh, they love the military now. How does the alt actually do that if it's a policy?
Well, I mean, policymakers make policies by changing their minds. I don't understand the distinction.
Yeah, but you said you make sure that like people in the military have resolve and the American public has resolve. How do you solve that?
Wait, I don't understand your question.
Right,
like that would be probably answered by like our uniqueness arguments.
All right.
Again, the function of this is to give uniqueness against like hedge unsustainable. It's not going to be a floating pick or solve the F or something like that.
I'm so done now. This is like not only the hedge case, this is like the old school like Kagan-Bong hedge case.
Data impact evidence.
Kagan 7 is better.
Yeah.
Kagan 7 is
Yeah.
Kagan 7 is also 15 pages small.
Sure, it's a lot better than the fair cards that people read, in my opinion. Huh.
And then there's only one flight, so this is the last of it.
Sick.
Alright, stop crap. 130 left. Case critique.
I'll send the app for 1 hour.
Yep.
Thank you.
I've seen Max die because of that.
My Mac died because of that.
What was the order? Sorry.
Case critique.
Start on the framing arguments.
Like the like the util stuff. Like you can fill that on at your eyes, so flip it separate.
Okay. So my util arguments
Yeah.
first. Okay.
I mean, on both of you already. Cool.
Concede the util framing. Your signature first arguments don't make sense. First, you concede. I concede your framing. Which is normal. One, which is your base premise. Your argument. Second, small scale impacts on first 8 point across by the aggregation framing, which is conceding last, which is that which means that military impacts aggregate every day, which means that patent negative the aggregate will occur the weights on scopes and effects on people. That's conceding argument, which means that the magnitude weighing is the same. People is alpha definitely always on probability. Since we seen the harms of military by culture of violence, but extinction never happened before. The outlaw is infinite impact, but there's no justification for that. It's just a big impact, not infinite one. Now the case arguments proper. 7, the cultural shift argument. 6, the case result of material violence is a good idea. That is the thesis of the one sees allowing anti-military discourse shifts away from a culture that glorifies the military and leads to everyday violence against military groups, because we do that. Violence is always the answer and unquestionably good. That's chapter me evidence. This also avoids all the arguments of the critique, since we do not say we should avoid the get rid of the military, but rather we should not glorify violence. Now, this necessarily outweighs your arguments. One is that it is so to say everyone's strength like this argument's function. You see to be point is that it's specific to student spillover, while the governmental labor is going to be incredibly contested, while the student argument is definitely goes firm on the side. You say that you make a couple arguments, but there's no reason why spillover. But no, I literally just articulated one. If once they learn that it's something that they can check back against, and they can criticize that, sells back your impact, which is the thesis of our argument is now the answers that now the arguments you read on case you say military is not racist, but first argument is not the military is racist, but the glorification of violence is bad, which answers back your argument. We're not going for military, but just to answer argument C, but to be structural violence. So I'll answer this on the critique, which should be solved by the argument critique. Start with the alternative. First, reject the alternative. It's incredibly shifty. 8 points at that. You you just say this way, you allow yourself to hedge, but then you list like 4 policies, what it would be in across the nation, which means you obviously you're not specific to anything. Maybe it just allows you to add new 200 arguments about what your policy does to get you more uniqueness. Obviously, is a bad idea. B point is it makes it impossible to make to give it 1 error because you're just going to shift about what it is to give you more uniqueness. If make any sort of uniqueness pressure, solve back your argument. And so solve back your argument. Second, turn the alternative is a freaking terrible idea. If you think hedge is a good idea, obviously there is going to be a huge amount of backlash if the entire government tries to institute so much of military policy, especially the censorship of the entire censorship throughout the country, even including the status quo. It's just a question of it that the inherent side of one sees just about colleges, which most Republicans are okay with because they think colleges are incredibly liberal. When you try to extend through the entire United States, the first violates the First Amendment, which obviously Republicans would have a big problem with it. But also everyone would be like, hey, why is the military trying to control our entire lives? And they would probably protest against it more, which means that link turns your arguments outweighs your arguments on 8-point magnitude because the only check back 8 points said if hedge is relatively stable right now, which you say it is, and there's only a risk of offense rather the alternative can make it worse. Now the hedge debate power personally turns out the military and check and ensure they make poor decisions that decrease U.S. hedge. The Afghanistan, the Iraq and Afghanistan proves with poor decisions making our military look bad. That's killing hedge. That's the slaughter 88 after shooting at least Arkansas on an empirical level, and probably since empirically confirmed before. Second, no link. The Afghan state hedge back just says military is bad. The absolute skills from teaching students that violence in military should not be glorified, not from destroying the military, saying that the military should not be used. 3, the permutation of the Afghan alternative all this 8 points is strong enough to resolve all instances. That's what should resolve the enough to resolve link. The one to see B point cross by the one to see is the net benefit for link turn public will always criticize the military. Iraq and Afghanistan prove even when universities had bad censorship, the public was outraged and caused that sort of military withdrawal, which you say happened. Only the link is our athletic shield. The universe expressors are more educated and check back the military preemptively before damage done. While the public link has to make their mind midway through the war. Also means it avoids the impact. Professors can keep it relatively quiet, which means they don't trigger your impacts. 5, no alternative salty hedges unsustainable. Senator 10, which hedges are completely unsustainable. Hegemony cannot change in the face of mounting prices and inventable overextension challenges provide no real stability. That hegemony consistently lead in a future. We're always going to lead multiple polar world. You say that China will take our place, but no, the argument is that replace with the multipolar world because they would collapse as well. 6, the hegemony is not key to peace. Stats prove first and 11, right? So evidence is this word relationship between U.S. African stability during the 1990s. U.S. cut back defense to diffuse remote peace when no military embrace that no security or arms race limits. Evidence regarding the systematic reactions to UN range suggests that peaceful trends are unrelated to the United States. Also, how is your evidence? 8 points that it takes into things like account like random correlation. The peaceful trends are related to this. B point is that it's more specific to the link argument. More specific to the link argument about if we criticize the U.S. or we cut things like spending, not if we destroy our entire military or if the military decides it's the first. What's your link evidence is about? Which means that the impact is more consistent with the link to be in the proper link to be proper, which solves back all your offense.
I didn't read them hard.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so it's going to be the impact framing. then the critique proper, and then the affirmative. Okay. Is everyone ready?
Yep.
All right. You've conceded number 3, which indicates kinship always because it's irreversible, which precludes all of your offense. We can resolve things like sexual violence after we're able to resolve the looming threat of hegemony and extinction. Second is that we want to see epistemic modesty arguments, which means that we have access to your structural violence framework through hegemony. That means you should default to a relatively strong internally to hegemony being good. Now let's address your specific impacts. You say it's small impacts because it happen every day. Also, the bad impacts of hegemony happen every single day. For example, empirically proven in areas like the Strait of Hormuz, when terrorists are attacking oil and causing things like oil prices to rise and oil shocks. The second is that Bashar al-Assad using chemical weapons against individuals. The only way to resolve that through military checks, which means that the one you see evidence is fundamentally biased on this question, which means that your evidence is fundamentally not unique. Third is that you say extinction hasn't happened yet. That is precisely why it's so bad. Just because extinction impact does not mean it's probable. You should use particular on these instead. If we win the link debate, then that should disprove your probability argument. Let's go to the link debate. The link debate is very clear on this issue. Our Iago evidence is very explicit in talking about the only interlink that we have, the only interlink that causes things that causes the military to withdraw and not do things like and not be able to fully engage in conflict is whenever they don't have the military willpower. Our uniqueness evidence is absolutely fire. That was a card under it, which indicates that American willpower is incredibly low right now, which controls the interlink to decreasing American credibility across the other nations, which means that we do not even need the alternative in order to have uniqueness for this argument. Again, the concession in cross-ex was cross-ex was damning. The only way the one is able to resolve these arguments if they are able to have spillover all across the United States. That also answers back your number 4 argument about always criticism. Yes, there was always criticism. The question is to what degree is criticism? The one issue solvency claim is that literally there would be criticism within the university and all around the university. That's the only way that they're able to get solvency. Second is that you've conceded the link reduction non-unique argument, which indicates that if you reduce the link to the hedge good critique, that means you reduce the link to the app, which means it's just fundamentally a question of whether hedge outweighs whether the benefits of hedge outweigh the benefits of implementing the plan, which means that we still which means that fundamentally the link debate is moot. It's just a question of whether or not hedge is good. Our hedge is absolutely amazing. That's the one to see hated evidence for. 8 points that resolve. That's empirically key to resolving conflict. Hitler would not have invaded countries. Saddam would not have invaded Kuwait. Have there been a resolved hedge on terrorist attacks because they perceived that there was not going to be a reprisal. After an invitation to another 9/11. That is the one, and also one to see Iago evidence speaks that having big guns is not enough. Willpower is necessary. The protests collapse that, and a lot of people like terrorists through Rome. Free people in his bandwagon countries empirically rely with the strongest enemy. This prevents things. This prevents conflict because nobody wants to attack the line because they fear the United States response. That also answers that your uniqueness specifically is inflexible. So the United States spread American ideals like democracy, human rights promotion, pro-living, and free trade. That is also the one you see Barnett evidence. Is shown interlinked to structural violence because that always affects the entire United States. Where your cultural militarism argument is literally just quote teaching individuals not to be violent within the United States. That means that best the one you see only has the interlinked to a few specific crimes. However, our one you see resolves structural violence all throughout the world. Whenever hegemony collapses, then that results in a reduction in free trade, which is necessary for developing countries in order to get out of poverty. Which means that fundamentally risk analysis evidence fundamentally resolves structural violence better than the one you see does. Just a question of where it is. Deep is empirics. Every single hegemonic transition was violent. And we're both Dawkins, April, and Dark Ages was a country divided to fill the void left by the United States. That also answers back to your empirical claim argument. The impact that we're not going for is not talking about peace between countries whenever hegemony is going, but rather transition wars. Whenever the United States withdraws, that means that causes multi-layer tons of wars are happening. For example, China was going to take over Taiwan. Terrorists take over the Strait of Hormuz. Bashar al-Assad does not have an international law or United States guns aimed at his head, checking him back, which means that fundamentally this also answers back your federal evidence. Now let's go specifically on the line by line. You say Lingchard key to have check military practice fundamentally begs the question of what military practice we're talking about. Our argument is that the status quo conception of military is accurate because it is able to resolve these resolves these empirical threats. So that was the extension of the Kinkaid. Evidence. Second is that you say hedge is not the equivalent of military bad. We've answered that on the link debate. So you say perm other instances. The other instances means fundamentally mutually exclusive. Fourth, you say always criticize. We already answered this argument. Yes, they will always criticize. The question is to what degree. The degree of the app is very bad. Now we'll enter the next piece of evidence. I forgot what it was, but I know it was not very good because first there's absolutely no qualifications of the author. Creating evidence is from international needs probably better conception of what the impact of the fundamental impacts of hegemony. Second is that the evidence is absolutely no warrant. Just speculation. What will happen if prices of already been increasing. Prices have been increasing for 5 years. Hegemony has obviously not collapsed because we've won the uniqueness debate since we won the uniqueness debate, which means that our evidence is much more significant, more resistant to the current geopolitical scale. Now offer your Federalist evidence. This cites examples from the 1990s, which means obviously not credible. Cross-body uniqueness is uniquely important in the geopolitical debate because the areas of conflict and conflict interaction are very easy to change within a split second. Empirically proven when hotspots in areas like the Middle East, for example, the Arab Spring and things like that. So the point is that your evidence is fundamental. Your evidence is not as let me go specifically to the evidence. Actually, that's fine. Second is that even if we win, that hegemony empirically is not necessarily correlated with peace. That is evidence just only assuming in the context of warfare. It's not talking about in the context of spreading things like democratic ideals and free trade, which is able to resolve oppression. That is the impact that we're going for. That is the impact that we're going for in the true now. Now we'll just spend the rest of the day doing impact comparison. You've conceded that hegemony outweighs in magnitude because affects tons of empirically affects tons of other people. You've also conceded that probability is fundamentally issue, not unique on this debate. Second is that your evidence is liberal media bias. That was the evidence on case. You've considered the reason for the evidence because your evidence because your strategy evidence is coming from the ivory tower, not from people that have actually experienced hegemony, which is strong internal link defense to the app. So again, fundamentally, hegemony is excellent. The one he sees critique of hegemony is just culture of militarism, which not only affects the United States, but doesn't really mean anything. There's no tangible impact of people dying coming out of the one area or things like that. You should probably air neg on the question of which impact is more probable or real.
All right. 113. So crap.
It's because I debated on this circuit. And also did a ton of hedge work when I was in school and college.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's cool. Our policy team just started going for neocon arguments, 13 minutes of cap good and the block and hedge good. So I've been able to finally start working with them because before then, I always read more policy arguments our teams like 4K. I'm sure you're familiar with Kinkaid, So it's kind of nice that be able to have more prep and working together with them on that. Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I remember senior year, the big thing was 4 minutes, or my senior year of high school, the big thing was 4 minutes of K, 4 minutes of Ks in the 2NC. And that was it was the most efficient critique speech ever.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Where is going to be critique?
I couldn't have guessed.
Quick overview.
Then the alternative, and then all of the dump of arguments I made. That's all.
Okay. Overview, alternative, dump of arguments.
Cool. Cool. Let's do this. Concede the impact framing, just question which side best resolves hegemony, but the one is the alternative is just a terrible idea to resolve hegemony. Looks in the second argument, the alternative proper says that if you try to censor, then obviously people are going to backlash against them. So even Republicans are right now okay with the 1AC because they think colleges are very liberal, but they are not okay with the censoring the entire country because they believe in things like the First Amendment and free speech, which means that people would be pretty pissed about why the military is trying to censor them, which means they backlash harder against the alternative. This link turns all the arguments, but you say that your shaky status quo about why the things are high right now. That's my point. You make it way worse because people are going to be questioning the military because they're be worried that they're oppressing them and that they're taking away their rights to criticize them. They think they're too powerful, which means they're strip away their powerful in the future. This is a conceded link term, which means 8.9% strength of link. B point, you cross with a try or diagram. You've conceded the argument I made in the 1 year said the uniqueness goes your way, which means that you can only make things worse. Which is what our argument is. It's if the app is not sufficient enough shift, the alternative is a way harder of a shift because it goes so far right that it's going to make people backlash and affecting conceded link turn to game over on the debate. Now, the second argument that I'm going for is the first link term that I made against the 1C is that the app keeps the military in check. That's an extension of the Slaughter 88 evidence of the 1C. Specifically, what's all your arguments about why the 1C, about why the link differential is different? Because that's a link differential, my first advantage, which I'm not going for, but the second advantage, the B-point impact, which is that we keep the military in check, make sure they're not making poor decisions in the first place. You say, it begs the question if they're accurate. No, but obviously our argument is that the military can make mistakes. They're not perfect. Our evidence gives you multiple examples. When we were involved in Nicaragua, when we were probably propping up governments in Iraq and Afghanistan, we were making mistakes. As long as you think there's a risk that the government can make mistakes, we should probably have another check on it. I.e. professors should check it back to make sure that we're not making bad decisions, which you've conceded decreases hegemony, because if we're making bad decisions, we do not look good. This outweighs the 8 points of probability. The 8 points of probability, the Slaughter 88 evidence is empirically verified, i.e. With the Nicaragua example, but all your link arguments are just analytical and speculative. The point is that obviously it's better to have the most checks back possible. We don't have any increase in the level streams is compared to more important. The two-hour did zero weighing what the alternative is the best way to resolve it, which is any weighing is a sufficient reason to vote on the two arguments. But I'll also put strength of link defense on the arguments as sufficient reason to vote negative. Any risk of link defense is so basically sufficient to functionally consider these two link terms. Let's start on the permutations. This also functions as link defenses. We did do it in all other instances, which means even if the alternative is still a good idea, we resolve the majority of them because there's no reason why we shouldn't do it in all instances. Results link, but the risk of the keeping it in check is what the 1C does. You say mutually exclusive, but this is a 1 second flip, although not a warrant here. Second side, no, we've articulated why all other instances would be different resolved with here because there's so many instances of anti-hegemony and status quo that should be able to resolve this as well. There's only risk of independence, which is what our argument is about now. The link term, which is the fourth response, says that the public will always criticize the military. It's a question of degree of criticism, but no, our argument is that you need to isolate why the brink of colleges is uniquely keys. If people are usually criticizing the military and status quo, there's no reason why the colleges are uniquely key, which means that your arguments do not have a brink, which means the risk of our arguments have a brink, which is our Slaughter 88 which means risk of a brink and is sufficient here. You can also see the reason why this app shields the link that professors can check the military before the damage is done, which non-uniques are often. So also you can see the argument that professors mostly keep it quiet. They just submit an academic scholarship, which you're not answering your link arguments. The AC is the best way to come to make sure our hegemony is good. Vote F. Good debate.